The emergency klaxon pulsed through the narrow corridors of the U.S.S. Valiant, a piercing sound that made even the seasoned crew flinch. Lieutenant Travis Soren groaned as he swung his legs off the side of the narrow bunk, his bare feet slapping against the cold deck. He rubbed his eyes, still sticky from a 2-hour nap that had come after a 16-hour maintenance shift on the ship's external relay array. "This better not be another coolant leak," he muttered, tugging on his uniform pants and shrugging into a faded navy blue undershirt with a rip just under the armpit. The door to his quarters hissed open as he stepped into the corridor, blinking against the harsh white lights. Crew members swarmed like ants, some headed toward engineering, others toward the infirmary. "Travis," someone called from behind. He turned to see Ensign Riamad jogging toward him, tablet in hand. "What's going on?" he asked. "Medical emergency in the xenobiology lab." "Not sure what kind, but Commander Norix is requesting a human presence." Travis frowned. "Norix, that guy doesn't even like breathing the same recycled air as us. What's it got to do with me?" Riamad shrugged. "All I know is you're on the list for interspecies response." "You passed the cultural compatibility course," Travis sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "That was just one afternoon of watching slides about not touching people's heads without asking." "Still counts," she said, already moving past him. The xenobiology lab was on deck 5, 2 levels down. Travis took the ladder to avoid the crowded lifts, his knees protesting all the way. When he arrived, the door was already open, and the temperature inside was at least 20 degrees higher than the rest of the ship. The humidity clung to his skin instantly. "Doctor." Norix, the Tallarite medic assigned to the Science Corps, stood hunched over a diagnostic table, his 4 eyes scanning a monitor while his 2 upper limbs worked a glimmering array of instruments. His lower limbs, more like tentacles than arms, were motionless, coiled beneath him. "Lahu, Travis," Norix said without looking up. "That means peaceful arrival, right?" Travis asked, stepping into the room. "No, it means do not bring contaminants, you're late. I ran here." "What's the emergency?" Norix finally looked up. "You sit." Travis blinked. "Me?" Norix jabbed one of his instruments toward the diagnostic chair. "Yes, you sit. Immediately." Travis hesitated, then shrugged and dropped into the seat, squinting at the screen. Norix turned toward him. "What am I looking at?" "This," Norix said, tapping the screen. "This is a dermal eruption with inflamed perimeters, irregular coloration, and neurological feedback spikes in the adjacent tissue. It is expanding." Travis stared at the image. "Wait, this is my arm." "Yes." "You entered the lab yesterday to repair the coolant valve. I observed you scratching the area above your left elbow. I scanned the footage. You did so multiple times. You are now exhibiting symptoms of systemic breakdown." Travis pulled up his sleeve. A blotchy red rash about the size of a credit card flared against his pale skin. It itched slightly. "Are you serious right now?" "This is a rash." Norix's eyes darkened. "This is not a rash. This is a precursor sign of dermal decay syndrome. I have cross-referenced it with 37 known pathogens from over 9 sectors." Travis scratched it again. "It's probably heat rash. It's 100 degrees in here. You are experiencing denial. This is the first stage." Travis stood up, wincing as he stretched. "Doc, I've had this before. I just need some ointment and a nap." Norix was already activating a containment field. "You will remain here for observation." "Oh, come on." Within 20 seconds, a translucent energy barrier shimmered into place around him. Travis tried to step through it, but it pushed back with a soft hum. Norix turned toward the console. "I have initiated full quarantine protocol. I am alerting command. You're locking me in a bubble because of a rash. Don't move. I must scan your lymphatic nodes." Travis sighed and sat back down, rolling his eyes. "Sure." "While you're at it, maybe bring me a sandwich." Norix was not amused. He began scanning from head to toe, muttering to himself in his native language. The lab lights dimmed slightly as the analysis chamber activated overhead. Vital signs stable. No fever. "No elevated white blood cell count," Norix said after several minutes. "Strange." "Not strange, normal," Travis said, "because it's a rash." "I will need to run a full-body cellular resonance test," Travis groaned. "You're going to put me in the biopod, aren't you?" "Yes." "For 72 hours. Absolutely not. I have a maintenance shift in. You are grounded from duty until further notice, Travis frowned. You can't do that. I can. I already did. The biopod opened with a hiss behind him. It looked like a large glass coffin lined with soft gel. Travis backed away. Look, just give me some topical cream and antihistamine and I'll be fine. Norix shook his head. This substance you call ointment is primitive. It does not address the neurological feedback loops. I don't have neurological feedback loops. I have an itchy elbow. Norix stared at him, then turned to another console, pulling up a star map. I must consult the Interspecies Medical Council for protocol. You are the first human to exhibit these symptoms in proximity to Tallarite cultures. It may be contagious. I've been among humans all day. No one else is melting. Norix's long fingers danced across the controls. You are in denial. I will prepare for sedated containment. Travis's eyes widened. You're not knocking me out over a rash, I must. You may experience spasms as your nervous system collapses. I'm not collapsing. Norix opened a drawer and pulled out a syringe filled with a blue liquid. Travis bolted. Despite the containment field, he managed to leap sideways, slamming his shoulder into a supply rack. Vials clattered to the floor. Norix shouted something in his language and hit a control panel. The field deactivated just long enough for Travis to slip through the door and sprint down the corridor, barefoot and still scratching his arm. He made it 2 decks up before security intercepted him. 2 guards flanked him near the lift, hands up. Travis Soren, the taller one asked. Yeah, you're under medical quarantine, Travis sighed. You've got to be kidding me. They escorted him, not unkindly, back to the infirmary. Norix was waiting, visibly annoyed. You endangered the crew, he said. I was trying to avoid getting paralyzed over a rash. Norix ignored him, injecting the blue serum into a device and pressing it against Travis's neck. Nothing happened. Travis blinked. Wait, was that the sedative? No, it's an antihistamine. I decided to test your theory. Travis touched his arm. The itching was already fading. Norix scanned him again. Inflammation reduced. No neurological feedback. Strange. It's not strange. It's ointment and a nap, just like I said. I did not administer an ointment. I used some last night. From the supply pack under my bunk. Norix stared at him. You self-medicated? Yeah, because it was a rash. Norix turned away, muttering. Unbelievable. You treated a potentially fatal condition with lotion. Travis shrugged. Well, and a nap. Norix pulled up the medical file. You require rest for 12 hours minimum. No duty, no walking, no stress, gladly. I am filing a report. This incident will be studied. You may have discovered a treatment for Tallarite dermal decay. Travis blinked. Wait, seriously? Yes. But your methods were reckless and unscientific. I scratched it and took a nap. That's not exactly a thesis. Nonetheless, I will require your ointment sample. Back in his quarters, Travis handed over the half-used tube. Norix examined it with a small scanner. Chamomile, aloe, menthol. What is menthol? It smells like peppermint. Kind of tingly. Norix scanned the label again. Contains eucalyptus. Fascinating. I must test this against Tallarite skin samples. Travis collapsed into bed. You do that. I'm going to take that nap now. Norix stood silently for a moment. You are a very confusing species. Travis yawned. Tell me something I don't know. By the following cycle, Travis had slept for 10 straight hours, woken only once by a maintenance alert from the hallway intercom, which he ignored with professional apathy. His arm looked better, no swelling, no redness, and the itching had gone. He flexed it, then tested the range of motion with a few lazy windmills before deciding it passed whatever diagnostic he'd just invented. Someone buzzed his door. Yeah, it slid open to reveal Norix, hunched slightly to fit through the frame, carrying a sealed container and a datapad. He stepped inside without waiting for an invitation, the door whisking shut behind him. I've replicated the compound, he said, lifting the container with 2 of his limbs. Eucalyptus remains volatile under Tallarite dermal conditions, but the binding agents mitigate the reaction. I require a sample of your skin. Travis sat up slowly. You're not gonna flay me, are you? No, a slough from the elbow region will suffice. Great. Nothing like starting the day with a bit of skin donation. Norix handed him a sterilized cloth. Rub this against the affected area. Deposit in the container. Travis did as instructed. You're really running with this lotion thing, huh? It is the first formulation in over a decade to reduce Tallarite dermal instability without immunosuppressants. Your casual application has disrupted several long-standing assumptions. Glad I could shake up the field by scratching myself. Norix tapped on the datapad. Your sarcasm is noted. I have updated the interspecies medbank to include the compound. It has already been flagged for trial replication. Travis leaned back against the wall. You're welcome for the revolution. Norix narrowed his upper set of eyes. I assume you are not trained in biochemical formulation. Nope. I just buy travel-sized tubes of stuff my aunt recommended. Fascinating. I have identified 37 non-active agents in the compound, many of which are not classified as medicinal. One appears to be a fragrance derived from a flowering shrub. That'd be lavender. My aunt swears by it. Says it calms the skin and the spirit. Norix made a low, clicking noise. Unscientific, yet effective. The contradiction is infuriating. Travis grinned. Welcome to humanity. Norix placed the sample container into a sealed pouch and turned to leave, but paused at the threshold. There is a symposium scheduled in 3 days. I have submitted your case for presentation. Travis blinked. You're putting me on display, your physiology. Not your personality. Gee, thanks. Later that day, Travis was cleared for duty, though with a restriction against high-temp environments until the dermal layer had fully normalized. He took the reprieve as a chance to catch up on system diagnostics in the cooler sections of the ship, mostly storage bays and docking arms. By mid-shift, he was adjusting a misaligned cargo anchor when his comm chirped. Travis, report to Biolab 2 immediately. Norix again. He sighed and set down the torque stabilizer. What now? The lab was quieter than before, temperature stable and only slightly humid. Inside, Norix stood with another Tallarite taller, festooned with ceremonial glyphs etched into his upper limbs. His skin bore irregular patches like discolored scales. 2 smaller individuals flanked him, both wearing containment masks. You are the one, the taller alien said. Travis looked at Norix. Friend of yours. This is Goran Mal, senior physician of the Tallarite Homeworld's Biological Council. Goran Mal stepped forward, extending a soft, padded digit. You have altered our dermatological paradigms. I am skeptical. Fair, Travis said, shaking it. I wasn't really trying to. Goran Mal gestured toward the diagnostic chair. Demonstrate. Travis blinked. You want me to? Rub lotion on someone. Norix handed him a small jar. This is the replicated agent. Your application method must be observed. I just used my hand. Exactly, Norix said. Goran Mal sat on the chair, exposing a scaly patch on his forearm. Travis hesitated. Is it okay to touch him? You have been granted temporary dermal contact clearance. Right. Normal Tuesday. He dipped 2 fingers into the jar, scooped a dollop, and gently spread it across the lesion. The texture changed almost immediately. What had been dry and rough softened, taking on a subtle sheen. All 3 Tallarites leaned in. Is it supposed to? Tingle? Goran Mal asked. Yeah, that's the eucalyptus. It's normal. Norix scanned the area. Cellular cohesion improved by 6% in under 1 minute. Goran Mal looked at Travis. You created this, not really. I just borrowed it from a toiletry kit. The 2 masked assistants began whispering in their language. Norix's eyes flicked toward them. They are requesting a sample of your genetic profile. Travis raised an eyebrow. What for? To determine whether your skin secretes a compound that interacts with the agent in a unique way. I'm not a lizard, Norix. My skin doesn't secrete anything special, yet your application yields superior results. Goran Mal stood. We request a full epidermal scan. Travis rubbed the back of his neck. Can we at least dim the lights and put on some music first? Norix was already activating the scan chamber. Remove your shirt, Travis sighed. This is the weirdest promotion I've ever gotten. The scan took 20 minutes. Travis stood still while the machine circled him, pulsing faint light across his torso and arms. When it finished, Norix reviewed the data silently. Goran Mal peered over his shoulder. Your skin contains trace elements of something called Chlorinated isobutane. Yeah, that's probably the body spray. It's not dangerous unless you're allergic to teenage confidence. Goran Mal looked confused. Is it medicinal? Only if you think smelling like citrus counts. Norix scrolled through the data. It may bind to the outer lipid layers and promote rapid absorption of other agents. You're telling me my shower routine is medicine now? Unintentionally, yes. Goran Mal nodded. We must replicate your regimen precisely. Describe your bathing habits. Travis blinked. You want a shower tutorial? Yes. He looked at Norix. Is this normal? No, but it is necessary. An hour later, Travis was in the ship's decontamination chamber, demonstrating his routine with a set of Tallarite observers watching from behind a partition. He lathered, rinsed, and explained the function of loofahs. They exfoliate, he said, holding it up, removes dead skin. Goran Mal scribbled notes. Primitive but effective. Norix adjusted the filtration settings. We must analyze the runoff. Travis paused mid-suds. You're analyzing my shower water for residual compounds. Yes, I need a raise. After the demonstration, Norix handed him a towel and a nutrient bar. You've contributed more to interspecies medicine in 24 hours than most humans do in a decade. I'm going to put that on my tombstone. Preferably not soon. Goran Mal approached with a data crystal. We will begin trials on Tallarite patients next cycle. Your methods will be replicated in controlled chambers. Travis dried his hair. Well, I hope they like lavender. They may object at first, Goran Mal admitted. It is considered a burial plant on our world. Awesome. So I've accidentally cured a disease with funeral soap. Norix handed him a new uniform. You will need to attend the symposium virtually. There is high demand for your presence. I'm not giving a lecture in a towel. You will be clothed, still not helping. As he dressed, Goran Mal inclined his head. Your adaptability is unsettling. Travis zipped up the uniform. Try growing up with seasonal allergies and 5 kinds of soap in every store aisle. You learn to adapt. Norix nodded slowly. Perhaps that is your species' true advantage. Travis picked up the nutrient bar and bit into it. That and stubbornness. Goran Mal turned to leave. We will contact you with results. As the door slid shut behind them, Norix lingered. You understand this will change how your species is viewed. They already believe you are reckless. Now they may consider you pharmaceutically unpredictable. Travis laid back on the bench, chewing thoughtfully. Could be worse. Could have been foot spray. Norix said nothing for a long moment. Then, without another word, he left. The symposium began 3 days later, broadcast from the orbital research station above Talas Prime. Travis sat stiffly in a borrowed uniform that didn't quite fit across the shoulders, facing a semicircle of alien researchers whose faces ranged from unreadable to politely skeptical. The feed was piped through a wall-sized holoscreen in the Valiant's auxiliary medbay, a room that usually stored defunct centrifuges and expired sedatives. Now it had been cleared out and converted into a makeshift presentation chamber, complete with a Tallarite-approved humidity regulator that made Travis feel like he was sitting inside a steamed vegetable pouch. He'd already been introduced. Twice. Once by Norix, and once again by some diplomatic liaison who kept calling him Technician Soren, which wasn't even close. Now he was waiting, trying not to fidget, while a pale green Zainari with a translucent skull dissected his bathing habits with the gravitas usually reserved for war tribunals. The compound absorption rate increases by 11% when applied by hand, rather than by mechanical means. The Zainari said, tapping its data slate with an appendage like a wet feather. We hypothesized the presence of micropressure fluctuations caused by human fingertip ridges. I just rubbed it in, Travis said, like anyone would. The technique is not just anything, Norix interjected from across the room. The friction pattern was erratic, adaptive, and variable by region. That is not reproducible by Tallarite servobots. The Zainari turned to Travis again. Have you been formally trained in tactile modulation? In what? No, Norix answered for him. Travis leaned back slightly. Look, I didn't invent a miracle cure. I used a lotion from Earth that stops me from turning into a flaky mess in dry weather. That's it. That's all I did. Another figure spoke up, this one a squat, chitin-plated creature with no visible mouth. The translator mounted to its thorax clicked and hummed before producing a flat voice. Human dermal treatment contains 12 non-medicinal agents. One of them, compound 4B, has never been synthesized in this sector. It is derived from crushed plant matter. It's called calendula, Travis said. Some kind of flower. I think it grows wild in parts of Canada. Explain its use. My aunt says it's good for healing scrapes. I mostly use it because it smells better than most of the other stuff. A hiss of translated disbelief rippled through the speakers. You chose this compound, the Zainari said slowly, based on aroma. Well, yeah, it's not like I had a lab in my bathroom. Despite the absurdity, no one laughed. Instead, a tall, scarlet-skinned being with 4 eyes and a flat, triangular head leaned forward. Please describe the circumstances under which you applied the compound to yourself. I just finished repairing a coolant valve. The lab was hot and I started itching, so I used the lotion before I went to sleep. No protective isolation, no preliminary scans. I didn't know I needed them. I've used the stuff for years. The Zainari turned back to the others. The underlying principle appears to be incidental exposure and habitual risk tolerance. Another alien, a thin, eel-like being coiled in a support tank, let out a series of bubbles before its speaker box activated. You mean to say the remedy was discovered by accident? Yes, Norix said, but it remains effective. We have tested the replicated compound on 14 Tallarite patients. All showed rapid improvement. Were any of them exposed to the human during application? No. The effect is independent of his presence. One of the delegates, whose face was a vertical slit of glistening cartilage, raised a tendril. If the remedy is replicable, what further contribution is expected from the human? Travis raised a hand. I was wondering that myself. Norix adjusted the projector. The human remains useful for validating cross-species dermatological assumptions. We have invited him here today not only for his involvement, but for insight into human treatment logic. Travis blinked. Wait, you want me to explain how humans come up with this stuff? Yes. Well, he said, scratching his jaw, we kind of don't. I mean, there's research, sure, but a lot of this comes from trial and error. Someone's grandma uses a plant on a rash, it works, and 100 years later it's in a bottle at the pharmacy. The Zainari clicked its beak like jaw. That is not a reliable methodology. No, but it works surprisingly often. Humans have this weird habit of trying everything once. Out of desperation or boredom, mostly. The eel in the tank bobbed its head. You are admitting your species experiments on itself. Oh yeah, constantly. Some guy in Nebraska probably ate a pine cone once just to see if he could. A pause fell over the room. Norix folded his upper limbs. This is the advantage I spoke of, he said. They do not require certainty to act. They require discomfort. You're making us sound like lunatics. I did not say it was wise, only effective. The Zainari looked back to Travis. Have you ever treated a wound with unconventional methods? Sure. I've used honey on burns, vinegar for jellyfish stings, even duct tape for blisters. The translator hummed again. You used an industrial adhesive for medical purposes. It keeps the skin from tearing more when you walk, works better than most bandages. Norix nodded slowly. This aligns with the reports. Humans prioritize function over formal classification. Travis crossed his arms. We don't always know what we're doing, but we're really good at not dying while we figure it out. The delegates conferred briefly. Then Goran Mal appeared on the screen, his skin visibly clearer than before. He spoke without ceremony. The trial patients have responded favorably. No adverse reactions. The compound will be distributed to Tallarite outposts via medical dispatch. Travis let out a breath. Glad it's helping. You are fortunate, Goran Mal said. Had your rash been misdiagnosed on our soil, you would have been sealed in cryostasis for deconstruction. Well, that's one way to miss a shift. We assumed the inflammation was stage 2 of dermal decay. We now understand it was a benign irritation, Travis shrugged. Next time, just ask if humans itch a lot. The answer is yes. Norix stepped forward. With your permission, I will submit the compound under a new designation, Soren 3. Travis blinked. You're naming it after me. There are already compounds Soren 1 and Soren 2. Both were failures. This one appears viable. Thanks, I think. The Zainari stood. Then the matter is resolved. The compound will be entered into the interstellar pharmacopoeia with credit attributed to technician Travis Soren, Earth Human, U.S.S. Valiant. Travis stood too awkwardly. Happy to help. Just don't ask me to invent anything else. I've only got shampoo and toothpaste left. Norix ended the transmission. The screen dimmed and the room fell into a more familiar silence. Travis rubbed the back of his neck. Was that real? Did I just become a footnote in alien medical journals? Yes, Norix said. Possibly several. I guess I owe my aunt a fruit basket. She should be studied directly. Let's not put her in a lab just yet. Norix retrieved a sealed vial from his coat. Here, the final formulation. You are permitted 1 unit for private use. Travis turned the vial in his hand. So this is it. Space lotion, Norix nodded. Human approved, Tallarites certified, and regrettably lavender scented. Travis smiled. Smells like victory.